Good morning and welcome. My name is Terry McGuire. I'm the Secretary of the Board of Trustees, and I'm going to highlight a few of the most important announcements that we have this week. Please check your emailed bulletin, your emailed community connection that will come to you. If you're not getting it, please contact Brenda in the office. This weekend is the Pacific Western Regional Assembly in Ventura, and our Reverend Maggie is attending. As usual, Taco Tuesday will take place on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Very important, next week, May 5th. Not so much Cinco de Mayo for us, as it is after service, an informational meeting for the reorganization task force. You will need this information when you vote on May 19th, which is even more important that as many people attend both on Zoom and in person, because we need a quorum in order to vote on some very important items. Today, after service, the young adult group meets, and also after service today, the Justice Coordinating Committee meets. I've also been informed that we need to honor Mark Moninger. Happy birthday, Mark. Day.
Good morning. I'm Paula Campbell, and I have some good news and I have some bad news. The bad news is that the Finance Committee team met on Monday, and oh man, the pledge drive is going really well, but it's going really badly. We need everybody to get their pledges in. We are about half as many as we had last year. So if you haven't had a chance to get your pledge cards in, please see either myself or Carissa after the service, and we're happy to give you the pledge cards and make sure that you filled them out. So the good news and the bad news is, again, it's a really tough year. We have to make some really tough decisions. We're down to deciding if we can find a cheaper provider for our telephone. That's kind of where we're at. So please consider giving more. The cover of the UU magazine, I think, is appropriate this month. It's called Stone Soup. You're probably familiar with the tale of the stone soup. Everybody contributes a little bit, and together, you know, nobody goes hungry. So that's kind of where we are now. So, and the other good news is my friend Amanda is in this issue. She calls herself a Unitarian troubadour, and she performs at Unitarian churches, and there's a picture of her at the General Assembly last year. So I'm really happy. So more good news and more bad news. The bad news is that not only our pledge is down, but our fundraising is down. Our quinceañera income is down. So we have some shortfalls, and even the Sunday pledge amounts are down. So I'm doing my part. I'm putting $10 in the basket this week so that, we can help quell some of these shortfalls. And the good news is that I hope that you will too. The last bit of bad news that I have to share with you is I could not find butterscotch anywhere. I looked and I looked and I looked and I could not find it. The good news is everybody's invited to an ice cream social, an ice cream sundae out on the patio after the service to celebrate the end of the pledge drive. It's the end of the pledge drive for NPR, it's the end of the pledge drive for PBS, and it's the end of the pledge drive for us here as well. And we're celebrating by having an ice cream, build yourself an ice cream sundae out on the pad. There's no butterscotch, but there's chocolate, there's strawberries, there's whipped cream, there's coconut, there's walnuts, no peanuts, walnuts. There's just about anything you can think of, lots of sprinkles, kids. So please join us out on the patio after the service. Thank you. Yes. The last bit of really good news I have is we have a new member, relatively new member, who is going to share with us why this community is important to us, to him. Charles Edwards is a relatively new member, as I said. I've had the pleasure of entertaining him at my house a couple of times, and he is a fabulous conversationalist, and I don't know anybody that doesn't know Charles that doesn't have a little crush on him anyway. So without further ado, I will bring you Mr. Charles Edwards to share with us why this community is important.
Good morning. What an act to follow. And I've been spending all this money on these online services. I guess I just need to come here, huh? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Let me get my notes out here and my glasses so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, I guess I'm the last speaker in the series, so I guess there's some notoriety for that. So yeah, I want to just talk a little bit about why I pledge. I mentioned community a couple weeks ago. This is my community, but more importantly, it's our community. And I think because of the inclusivity, which is one of the things that attracted me, I think we all have to participate in what we're trying to do. And one of them is the fiscal side, which is to try to cover a lot of these things that make our organizations successful. Facilities, utilities, we have a great staff that we have to pay. And of course, Reverend Maggie, just, a real gem, so to speak. And all the events, the ice cream socials and Paula puts together and all that good stuff. But let me talk a little bit about what sort of brought me here. And if you'll indulge me for a few minutes. About 10 years ago, I went through a fairly life-changing event, and I got divorced after 24 years of marriage. And boy, did that change my life. But one thing I lost is the community that I had. And we were part of a school, so much of growing up as a young adult is based around your school, your kids and that community. And in our case, it was Catholic and Catholic Church. And my wife was actually the secretary of the elementary, junior high school. So she was the power broker in that particular organization. She knew everybody. But that all went away. And I found myself out there kind of lost as to what do I do. So I started looking for a new community. I thought the church might be a good place to start. And so I went on a expedition to find that new home. And I went to a number of different churches of all denominations, but one in particular kind of stands out I want to share a little bit with you, and that's the Agape Church. Anybody ever heard of Agape?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. Well, this was crazy because I lived in Culver City at the time. I was renting an apartment. Agape at the time was in Culver City, about 2 miles away from my place. I'd never heard of them. And I actually found out because I met a lady in Santa Monica who was vacationing from Europe and wanted to go to Agape because she'd been on Zoom. So that's how I found out about the church. You know, she dragged me over there, got to experience it. And it was quite an amazing experience. Agape is one of the mega churches founded by Michael Beckwith, who is a very charismatic personality. But interestingly enough, I mean, when I walked in, you know, and I saw who the founder was, he was about a 60, 62-ish kind of person, old, African American, very, very impressionable, very presentable. He had dreadlocks down to his butt. What's wrong with this picture? But he was a personality. He was tied into Hollywood. In fact, he was very good friends with Oprah Winfrey. They were buddies, so to speak. And one example of the connections he had was one Sunday we were celebrating his birthday. And while he's doing his thing on stage, who walks on stage but Stevie Wonder? And Stevie proceeded to perform the song he wrote for Martin Luther King, Happy Birthday to You, and just turned the place out. I mean, it was just wild. But that's the kind of thing that happened at Agape. And, you know, I went there several times and actually enjoyed it initially because it's probably the most diverse group I've ever seen in my life. You know, people of all ages, nationalities, gender, you name it. And, you know, stepping back, I kind of said, this is what I think the world ought to look like. It's just an amazing community. And so a lot of great energy from that. The music, oh my gosh. Every week they had a sort of a jazz combo. They would play music. But every week they had a recording artist that would come and sing a couple of songs. And then the third Sunday of every month, they had the choir Sunday, which as we have here. And their choir is about 80 to 100 people strong. It's just an amazing thing. But they come out decked out in different garb and colors and all, you know, it's just an amazing experience. But, you know, with all that, that was attractive, I still felt that there was a challenge in connecting to the organization. And, you know, Michael Beckwith is an amazing speaker, but I found myself, a minute or two into his talk, I would check out mentally, just gone, you know. And fortunately, I'd come back before he finished. So, but I would just, and it happened over and over again. I'm going, what's wrong with this picture? And so, you know, I finally realized I just lacked connection. It just wasn't happening to me. So anyway, I ended my relationship with that church, and I ended up searching for a number of different churches. I moved to Claremont about 4 years ago, and then I went to UCC and checked that out. But nothing quite got me until the universe sent me Ellen. And, you know, we've shared our story with a lot of you in terms of how we met. But I tell you, this is one amazing lady. So, you know, I'm sort of an old new member because I've been coming here for a while. Last October, I actually signed my pledge. And I do pretty much what Paula does. I told my bank, I said, every month on this day, send a check. And so it happens, and I don't have to touch it, which is great. And I just actually renewed my pledge for this new year, and I did increase it, Paula. So, but yeah, it's and many of you, I guess, met me formally a couple of Sundays ago when we had the new member ceremony. Myself and the other members of the Magnificent Seven, I call us. It's quite a team of newbies. But My only regret about participating in the pledge program is at this stage, I don't have enough funds to really contribute what I'd like to. And so hopefully that changes in the future. In fact, if I ever win that big lottery, Paula, MVUC will be the first to get a sizable portion of that. I promise you. Thank you for listening to my story and being a part of it. And I just encourage everybody to pledge. I think this is our organization, our community, and we have a gem here, a little gem, as I call it. And like most gems, you have to polish it to really achieve the maximum value. So we all need to participate in that. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Catherine Rowley, and I'm the lay leader for the service part of this event today. So let's just take a breath and get into that state of what we call worship. And I will ring our bowl. And I could not find the binger, so I have a Sharpie. So we ring it once for honoring yesterday. For celebrating today. And awaiting tomorrow. Whoops, I don't like that one. Wow, that bowl really rings. So our opening words. We are here dedicated to the proposition that beneath all our differences, behind all our diversity, there is truly a unity that binds us forever together. In spite of time and death and the space between the stars, we pause together in silent witness to that unity. And our opening song is Come Sing a Song With Me. And there is a little star by it if you want to rise up in body or spirit. So let's see if the words come. going to now, boy, we could just almost stand this whole service, but how about we have a seat? And I'm going to ask Sandra Grajeda, who's our speaker today, to come and light the chalice as I read our chalice lighting words, and to light our little Calapayan partner church one. Yeah, okay. Yeah, beautiful. May the light of this chalice give light and warmth to our community. And when we are joyful and when we despair, may we feel the warmth from this chalice spread from our circle to the wider and wider circles until all know they belong to the one great circle of life. Did you? It's trying. Yeah, it's there. But it's lit. Light is a funny thing. Okay, and let us, so yeah, let's stand again. Okay, and let's say our covenant, and then we'll sing Spirit of Life in English and then in Spanish. And then we'll have our children come up. Okay, we affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Right now, we can sit while we sing the children to their classes, but let us have any children that are here, somebody could come and get their chalice, and then we'll sing them out. We're sparing our director of religious education from walking too much. He has hurt himself. So give him good thoughts as he... Okay. Time in our service, we would come forward with our offerings for our congregation, for the Beta Center, and for our Share the Plate offering. It's the last Sunday of the month, so this will be the last Sunday to share your offering with Defy Ventures, SoCal. So while we listen to Lily, please come forward with your generous offerings. Oh my gosh, Lily. It just gets better and better. You're amazing. Wow, there we go. So, Jarius, we just turned the lights on. Is that okay? I don't know. What? Okay. And also, are there any joys and concerns online? I don't have my computer on. Okay. Oh my gosh. You all can have this wonderful experience that I'm having. If you're so interested, let me know. So it is a time when we share our personal joys and sorrows and concerns, things in our lives that are personally important to us. And there is only one in the in here, and so Thorne would like to come up and say something. I'm not about a student.
Sorry, I'm not used to having a microphone. Some of you know that I work at Pasadena City College, and I'm used to having to project my voice in a big classroom. But I have been off work for personal reasons lately, but I found out last Friday that a student of mine passed away, and I just wanted to say a couple things about her. I knew her as Mabel. That was her preferred name. She loved to go by any name that rhymed with Mabel, including stable and fable and table, and she'd give you all these examples. And she went hiking with her mom about a week ago and got lost. And yeah, and so she's passed away, and it's at a time when our college is also going through a lot with some recent hate crimes, and so I just wanted to say something about how much Mabel's life affected me and all the students that know her, all the people that knew her, and may she rest in peace.
Wow, thank you. That's a tough one. And we haven't, I know there's a lot of things we hold in our hearts. So let us take a few deep and slow breaths together and quiet our minds, enter into a time of meditation or relaxed state of awareness. Let's breathe in together and out. As we feel our shoulders relax. Breathing in and breathing out. Just feel our hearts opening. We celebrate the joy that we have in our lives and the joy we see other people experiencing in our lives. We celebrate the joy of the world around us, and the flowers and the birds and the clouds and just the beauty of the earth. We send our compassion to the sorrows and that was expressed here today. And we send compassion to each other for those that we know were not shared. So many griefs we are all holding inside of ourselves. We send our loving compassion out beyond the walls to the multitudes of beings on this earth who are suffering. And there are so many. We send our compassion to those who are frightened and those who are struggling. We send our compassion inward to ourselves. And this little prayer, this little hope for how we may be. May my feet rest firmly on the ground. May my head touch the sky. May I see clearly. May I have the capacity to learn. May I be free to touch. May my words be true. May my heart and mind be open. May my hands be empty to fill the need. May my arms be open to others. May my gifts be revealed to me, so that I may return that which has been given, completing the great circle. To break that spell of the beautiful state you helped us create. So, in working with Sandra on this service, she thought I ask always the speaker, well, what kind of reading would help you along with what you're trying to, give us today? And Sandra mentioned that diversity was important to hold in our minds. And I found an amazing reading on diversity, sort of going around the internet, and it's from the Appalachian State University. I've never, you can hear it and see what you think. It's pretty, I thought it was very awesome. So this is our reading. Why celebrate diversity? Diversity is a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts, which include race, ethnic origin and color, religion and creed, sexual orientation, age and ability, to name but a few. As ever-evolving creatures in an ever-changing world, the innumerable aspects of our humanity, all our ways of being, knowing, and moving through the world are contained in this one concept. As human beings, we are revealed and make ourselves known to one another by infinite varieties of intelligence, language, race, values, politics, religion, national service, gender presentation, philosophy, and a host of other elements common to humankind. The recognition of a common humanity is the first step in the celebration of our differences. Differences that inform our cultures, our values, our minds, and all our ways of being in the world. Diversity is the chief informant of the creative life force and the central reality in our understanding and stewardship of it. And with this, I'd like to bring up Sandra Grajeda.
I'm really uncoordinated at this. Right about there is perfect. Thank you. Are we good? Hey, perfect. Well, I'd just like to thank all of you for being here today, and thank you for that you're going to listen to me sing. I'd also like to thank Catherine and the worship committee for allowing me to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. And lastly, but not least, I'd like to thank Lily for accompanying me. So before I sing, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about what Cinco de Mayo is, because I think a lot of people think that it's like a Mexican Independence Day, kind of like the American 4th of July. But it isn't. It's a celebration of the Battle of Puebla, which took place in 1862 against the French. The French had decided that they were going to take over Mexico, so they had come in through the port of Veracruz, and they were on their way west towards Mexico City. Puebla is a city about halfway in between, and so there was a battle there between the French and the Mexican forces. The French they outnumbered the Mexicans by about double, but the Mexicans did prevail. So, and that was on May 5th, 1862. So, unfortunately, the Mexicans did not win the war, and France did occupy Mexico for a few years. So, I feel that Cinco de Mayo kind of binds our countries together, Mexico and the US. For one thing, because it's celebrated actually more here than it is in Mexico. And also, a little fun fact that I didn't know about till I researched it. In 1862, there were some Mexican miners up in the gold country, and they were, during the gold rush, they were prospecting for gold, and they got word of the victory in the Battle of Puebla. So they did fireworks and they shot off guns, and it was the first celebration in our country, in the US, of Cinco de Mayo. And in this little town, it's called Columbia. It's up in the north of Bakersfield, up in the Sierra Nevada. They have celebrated Cinco de Mayo every year since then. So I'm going to sing you some songs, some Mexican songs. They're not related to Cinco de Mayo. And I don't know any songs related to Cinco de Mayo from that era, but I was thinking I should look up some, see if I can learn some. They're just some of my favorite songs, mostly from the 1930s up through the 1960s. The first song I'm going to sing is actually about a city in Spain, Granada. It was written by a very famous Mexican composer, Agustin Lara. He loved Spain, particularly Granada, so he wrote this song to honor it. And in return, he was very loved by the Spanish people because of writing this song, which became extremely popular all over the world. The next song I'm going to sing is also by Agustin Lara, and it's kind of an unusual song. You may recognize the melody because it was popular in the US. I think it was called Be Mine Tonight, and it was sung by Doris Day and a lot of different people. I think, I think Nat King Cole sang it, you know, a lot of people. Frank Sinatra. So it's an interesting song because the narrator, the person singing, is actually singing to the moon. And he or she is singing about her lover who has gone off, probably playing around, you know, being unfaithful. Noche de Ronda actually refers to the culture in Mexico of serenading at the balcony, like, you know, historically it would be a man serenading a woman in her balcony. But in this case, the inference is that he's not serenading whom he should be serenading. This next song you will definitely recognize. It was very popular in the US in English, sung by Dinah Washington and many others, but she was the first one to sing it. And it was very popular in Mexico too, but with a completely different lyric. This is a song that was very popular in Mexico and in here certainly among Mexican Americans, and I think you'll recognize the tune. It's a song that's very difficult to translate into English because it's about how when you're in love with someone, you, again, it's really hard in English, you retain their flavor and they retain yours. In Spanish, it's very poetic, but the literal translation, it doesn't do so well in English. So the last song I'm going to sing is both in Spanish and English. You will definitely recognize it. It was very popular, I think, in the 1960s in English. And the version in Spanish, which again, the lyrics are totally different, but was very popular in Mexico. I wish you'd had some margaritas, because I think I would have sounded better then. But one thing I just wanted to mention before I leave the mic here is that if you haven't noticed, please notice the wonderful picture that Catherine put on the front of the order of service, because this is actually the Battle of Puebla, or commemorating the Battle of Puebla. And the man that you see in the center is Benito Juarez, who was the president of Mexico at the time. And he was a really amazing man who came up from a very poor background. He was an indigenous man from Oaxaca, and he was able to be educated and rise, you know, through really hard work into the politics of Mexico, all the way up to being president. So it's a wonderful picture that you chose. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Wow, we just got to be part of something really special. So wonderful, Sandra. Thank you so much for sharing yourself. And your voice is beautiful. Yeah, you didn't, yeah, thank you. Whoa, so now we're going to sing. And we're going to sing the one in our hymnal that is the one that people sing at Cinco de Mayo. Now, we would have done this on Cinco de Mayo, but we had already scheduled a speaker. So when Cinco de Mayo comes next Sunday, be sure and hold all the thoughts you've learned here today in, your celebrations. It truly is a celebration of diversity over adversity. And I think that's what people are really celebrating, besides getting drunk and stuff, which I don't know. We're so blessed to be so close to and part of a culture. It's part of our everyday, as far as I'm concerned. But I just thank you so much. So let's sing De Colores, but it's number 305 if you want to be in your hymnal. And it's we're going to sing the first two verses, and then we'll do our unison benediction together. So let's stand and then remain standing for our benediction. We forgot we had shakers to pass out our... I know. Oh well, and I forgot to bring more. So let's say our benediction together. Okay. And then you could come and extinguish our chalice if you'd like to. As we close our time together and extinguish our chalice flame, may we remember to let love guide us. May we be kind, be brave, be just, be merciful, be hopeful. For when we do, we hold the chalice flame as a guide for our lives and the light of all the earth.